Hello and welcome to Crafting with Madam K. So we're going to do a really quick video to show how to use the Cricut to take these cutting mats from the Dollar Tree where you get 2 in a pack, and they're really thin, a fraction of a millimeter thin from the Dollar Tree, and use these to cut patterns out on the Cricut to make templates for projects that you're going to do over and over again. So one thing that is always difficult for me is stitching and getting the right stitch line. So I tried to make a stitch line ruler that I'm gonna punch the holes in and cut out of this. And then I also made a face mask pattern that I'm gonna work on. So what we have here is I've attached the mat. One side is smooth and one side is kind of frosted. So I went smooth side down to get a more secure attachment. You could use the strong mat, but the green one seemed fine. And I first engraved the design onto, you'll see in a second. First engraved the design onto the Cricut, and then I ran over it with cutting out just the outside edges because I'm going to use it for a stitching pattern. I don't want to cut out the designs on the inside, just on the outside to have like a pattern or ruler. So I've never done this before, so we're going to peel this off and see how well it worked. Okay, so the engraving tool works amazingly. That's just a little pointed cone-shaped engraving tool. And see, I even have these really fine ruler designs for, I'm going to punch the holes for the 1.5 millimeter holes on this side, and this is 6 millimeter spacing, and then 1 millimeter holes on this side with 4 millimeter spacing. So I use this for finer detail stitching and this for general putting things together. So it didn't cut all the way through. I used the tooling leather setting, the 4 to 5 millimeter tooling leather setting. And it didn't go all the way through, but it did almost cut through. So I would say if you can choose something maybe like basswood, I just used the deep point blade. If you use the knife blade, I'm sure it would go over it with 2 or 3 passes easily. With the deep point blade, I would probably set it to the basswood or something else that's going to go over maybe 5 or 6 passes, and then also I also set it to more pressure. So use more pressure, a sharp deep point blade or a knife blade, and set it to 4 or 5 passes if you're using the deep point blade, and that should be good. So with what it cut out already, that's going to be a nice guide. So I'll just go over that with an X-Acto knife. It's going to cut really easily, and then I'll punch over the holes with my stitching punches, and I'll have a really easy pattern that I can use over and over again for my stitching. So this is exciting. I'm glad that worked. Again, these come from the Dollar Tree. They're $1 for a pack of 2. They're cutting boards, which is really funny because they cut really easily, but they work perfectly. So if you enjoyed that, make sure to check out our next video and subscribe to the channel. It may not be the right way, but it's the Madam K way.